Yo, how's everyone doing? Hey guys, welcome back to a channel of Ice and Fire, and today I'll be discussing my thoughts on the first two episodes of House of the Dragon Season 3. Or, rather, I should say more like, the final two episodes of House of the Dragon Season 2, which should have been, had it not been for, budgets and the, the writer strikes and all that stuff. But, yeah, hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, how you guys doing this weekend? Hope you guys are looking forward to episode 3. I certainly am. And I've been very pleased thus far of what we've been getting from, season 3 thus far. Oh, and, I'm sure you guys all noticed the little, mini, models I made of each of the main characters of the last couple episodes thus far. I'm particularly proud of what I did with Aemond and his helmet and all that stuff. But yeah, hope everyone is doing well. Oh, we already got some people in the chat. Oh, how do I pronounce that? Oh man, I can't pronounce that, man. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say your numbers there. 9783. How you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. And hey, Bluebell. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And yeah, yes, the third episode does look very promising. I will be talking about that later on in the stream. Yeah, it's the conceptual episode that Ryan Condal mentioned a few times. Oxwat. Okay, so it's Oxwat. I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I'm not. But yeah, hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I hope you guys are enjoying season 3. Like I said, I certainly am. But yeah, without further ado, let me share my thoughts on episode 1 of season 3, or should I say the penultimate episode of season 2, which should have been, again, had not been for behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I was very surprised. Actually, I want to talk, before I talk about Rhaena and Sheepstealer, I want to talk about, man, the new, well, sort of new intro for season 3. I just honestly, Ramin, he does such an amazing job with the soundtracks, but he really nailed it with the intro with the war drums added into the main Game of Thrones theme. Honestly, it fits well with the whole premise of it being a actual war show right now. But I'm glad they kept the tapestry stuff going on with Valyria, the Great Council, and all that stuff. But yeah, it was, honestly, I've been playing that theme every day before work. It's so badass. But yeah, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room with Rhaena and Nettles. Or, not Nettles. Rhaena and Sheepstealer, because Rhaena is replacing, obviously, for those who have read the books, she is replacing Nettles as the writer of the Wild Dragon Sheepstealer. Honestly, this is going to divide a lot of people, but I honestly have no problem whatsoever with Rhaena being Sheepstealer's new writer. Honestly, I get why people like Nettles a lot, but for me, she just seems like just a plot hole, just a I don't know, plot hole, but she seems just to be a character that's supposed to be representing that, oh, Targaryens aren't the only ones that can bond with dragons. Just because of she can feed a dragon, she can tame him. But while her origins, or the mystery behind her origins, is a bit is a bit interesting, I don't think it really is necessary to include her in the story. Granted, Rhaena isn't that, is kind of one of the more boring aspects of Hot D at the moment, but I don't know. It's I don't know. I kind of prefer Rhaena taking a more active role in the dance rather than just hang out in the Eyrie, what she does throughout the course of the war up until later on, which I will not be spoiling for you guys. Hey, Joffre. Hey, Flame or Fire Flame. Hope you guys are doing well. Oh, okay. Okay, so your sister actually likes Rhaena's plot. Okay, you're one of the rare few that do, honestly. Your sister, well, rather your sister, actually. Yeah, honestly, I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind Rhaena being Sheepstealer's new writer. Again, I just think, while it would have been nice to have Nettles, I don't think having her included is all that necessary as a lot of people seem to suggest at the moment. But yeah, I do. But back to what I was saying with Rhaena and Sheepstealer, I just love how they just kind of just went out of the way, because in season 2, they didn't really know what to do with Rhaena's character. She was searching for Sheepstealer, but in the first 5 minutes, she actually bonds with him, and in a more chaotic way, because Sheepstealer, unlike the rest of the Targaryen dragons, is a wild dragon. So taming him is like trying to tame a stray dog. Only this stray dog flies and spews fire. But I love how chaotic the bonding scene was between them. Specifically, when Sheepstealer just leaves Rhaena on top of a mountain and just flies off, only to come back later and pulls a How to Train Your Dragon moment with giving her a burned remains of a sheep for her to eat. And I guess that's how the bind writer and dragon together, I guess. But yeah, I'm curious to see where her arc goes in this season, particularly because she's she's partly responsible for a certain character's death early on, or later on, I should say. But let's move on to the next scene with Aemon confronting Orwell about Aegon's little flight from King's Landing. He immediately has him slated for execution, which does kind of make sense because he was Aegon's caretaker all throughout that episode, or all throughout the later half of season 2, which I guess there is a reason why Aemon is actively trying to kill Orwell. But yeah, and I love that Ironrod was the one person who saved him from being beheaded with Blackfire. It was so comedic, honestly. I can honestly understand why Orwell is not a huge fan of the blacks, or the greens, I should say, and helps out Daemon in episode 2. But let's move on to Aegon and Larys and their flight. Honestly, I just want to say this. I surprisingly love the dynamic between Aegon and Larys Cleftfoot. It was very brotherly banter, which honestly I love. Especially when they're captured by members of House Staunton. Now, for those who don't know, House Staunton is the house that ruled Rook's Rest until the 4th episode of season 2, when Meleys and Sunfire battled out. And the former kind of destroyed half the castle. Which kind of begs the question, what are these Staunton dudes doing roaming the Crownlands? Either A, they're remnants of the Staunton family that were driven out of the castle after Kristen Cole established a garrison there, or maybe they retook the castle and just helping out black supporters who are trying to expel the Greens. But the fact that Larys and Aegon, that Larys pretty much just gave up Aegon at the first moment when Aegon's beginning to get him killed, is very comedic. And honestly, though I will say, why the hell would you bring your crown? Why would you bring your crown to an area that is notoriously filled with your sister's supporters? I don't know. I suppose they want to bring it as proof that Aegon... Ooh, sorry. I suppose they want to prove when they get to Braavos that Aegon is who he says he is. Oh, hang on. Got something in my throat right now. Sorry about that. Ooh, sorry about that. But I think the reason why Larys and Aegon brought the crown of the Conqueror was basically to prove to the Sea Lord and the other Ironbake of Braavos that Aegon is who he says he is. Which I guess there is a reason for that, but again, you're taking it in an area filled with black supporters, so it's kind of a little stupid on their part, if I'm to be honest with you. Oh, also, guys, I put in a little background music just to make sure that there's some music in the background. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. I will adjust it if at all possible. But yeah. All right, so let's move. Oh, hang on. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra is telling her council basically that Alicent is going to help out in opening the gates of the Red Keep for Rhaenyra to just take over and end the war with peace. And Jace and the others are understandably a little find this whole situation a little sus, especially Jace. Which, understandably so, considering the fact that she helped put Aegon on the throne and was a known enemy for a good long while. So, all right, let's see. Actually, oh, thank you. Staunton Ninja. I hope or Santo Ninja. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for the comment there. Yeah, I work really hard with these models. I try to blend show and book aesthetics together as much as I can. But yeah. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, like I said, the other members of Rhaenyra's council are understandably very suspicious about the whole circumstance behind Alicent's offer, which... And I honestly feel for Jace, man. He really wants to help out his mom, but she just kind of smothers him a bit, which I get why. She lost Luke in season 1, and she doesn't want to lose her eldest son, which I get, but at the same time, you're just undermining your own son, which I don't know. But let's move on to Alicent being confronted by Aemond in the throne room. And I find it interesting that after Aegon's flight, Aemond immediately declares himself king. And that one random Kingsguard actually said that Aemond's king. So, but at this entire episode, Aemond styles himself as king. But in the next episode, in episode 2, they call him the Prince Regent, which I'm kind of confused on. What is he actually king, or is he just Prince Regent? I don't know. Arms honestly are kind of difficult for me. I can't really draw arms all that well, except for like the fist and all that. Giving them hands is kind of a little hard on my part. It's kind of easier just do like the fists and the swords and all that stuff. It just makes it a little easier on my part. But yeah. But back to the scene. I was kind of surprised that Aemond just immediately like abandons his plan to go to Harrenhal and face Daemon. which I can understand given the fact that Rhaenyra has like 3 new dragons now, but I don't know. He kind of styles himself like he's has no choice now that Aegon's fled, but Aegon's dragon is supposedly dead. So what does that make a difference for? So I think it's just an excuse on Aemon's part just because he's terrified of being killed by either Daemon or Rhaenyra's 3 new dragons. But, yeah. Oh, speaking of Daemon, we have the aftermath of, I think it was, what was it, the Lakeshore? Wait, no. Oh, it's so confusing. I always confuse the fish feed with the other battle. The battle, was it the battle near the God's Eye or was it the fish feed? I don't know. I'm just going to call it the fish feed. But Daemon is pretty much Daemon and the Riverlords are absolutely smashing the Lannisters, which I would have liked to see the actual battle, the full battle, like what we saw with the Battle of the Bastards. But, oh, it's the Red Fork. It's the Battle of the Red Fork. Thank you there, Santo Ninja. Thank you for that. Yeah, I would have liked to see the full battle being unveiled, but... Oh, wait. Is the chat box not... Oh, the chat box is not working. Oh, no. Whatever. I'll deal with it later. Okay. But what was I saying? Oh, yes. I would have loved to see... I would have loved to see the full battle unfolding. And I love that Daemon is like... He's too much of a G that he doesn't need to ride Caraxes. That we see him in the background just flaming up the Lannisters. Though I would have liked to see Lord Lefford, because after Jason Lannister dies, which he does die, thanks to these guys, the Winter Wolves. I was so excited to see these guys pop up. As soon as I saw the Stark banners, I immediately went, yes, the Winter Wolves, baby. But it was very surprising that they already killed off Jason. It was very... I mean, I'm not really surprised. Jason wasn't really that much of a character. He was just a smug asshole from season 1 and 2. But it was a great introduction to Roddy the Rune, even though he doesn't have a Scottish accent. Because Tommy Flanagan has a Scottish accent, but they gave him a northern accent. Which, while I understand why they did that for the sake of consistency, I would have loved to see him in a Scottish accent. We don't have enough Scots. We don't have enough Scots in Game of Thrones. We only got Alice Rivers in this show, who's a Scot. Which, frustrating. But I will say, this is a great introduction to the Winter Wolves. Sorry, I can't pronounce anything today. And I'm very excited to see them moving forward. I really can't wait to see these Greybeards just absolutely fuck shit up. And I do love Roddy the Rune's iconic line, "We have come to die for the Dragon Queen." It was just... Oh, it was so satisfying. So satisfying. Oh, let me just read some comments here. Oh, thank you, Joffer. Thank you. It's very surprising that within a year, I have gained 10k subs, and it's incredible. You guys are honestly amazing. I was so surprised about the amount of positive reactions I've got from the Rhaegar What If video and the Hot D A Night of the Seven Kingdoms timeline video. I'm very proud of those videos, and I'm glad also the Jaehaerys the Conciliator video is doing not as well as those two, but still doing pretty well. But yeah, hope you guys are enjoying. I'm that Jaehaerys video has drained me of energy somewhat, so I'm going to take a little break for the moment, but I have been working very hard on revamping a couple of stuff, like the dragons, actually. I've actually updated Vermithor and Silverwing and Vhagar, so I can't wait to show you guys those when I do Viserys and the dance. Alright, let me see. I mean, yeah, Eska, it's... They do have a preference towards the blacks, which, while I do understand, it's... I don't know. I kind of want to see more of a bit of a positive side with Aemon, which hopefully we will see, given the fact that he's now at Harrenhal, meeting a certain witch queen, which I'll talk to in a little bit. But yeah, let's move. Oh, actually, before I move forward, I just love that Daemon is just being an effective military commander and just absolutely tearing shit up. Unlike in Season 2, because in Season 2, he was just chilling out at Harrenhal, having weird dreams and stuff like that, and he doesn't really do much. But now, in the first 2 episodes, they have finally redeemed Daemon Targaryen. He is back to being the savage badass that we all know and love from Season 1, and I am so glad that he's back. So glad he's back. Sorry about that. I'm getting another drink of water. Oh, I will be doing some more what if videos, Santo. I have some ideas, like what would happen if Rhaena became queen before Jaehaerys. What would happen if the Secret Siege had actually succeeded. And what would happen if the dragons didn't all die. Like if the dance never happened, which post-dance Targaryen would claim what dragon. I have some ideas down the pipe, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's move on. And here we have Gawain and Kristen chilling out, waiting for Aemond. And I like the fact that Gawain... I actually really like the Gawain... Ooh, sorry about that. I really love the Gawain-Cole dynamic. I like that in the beginning of Season 2, their relationship was kind of antagonistic, whereas now they're kind of like a budding bromance kind of a way, if that makes sense, where Gawain is trying to represent the honorable, chivalrous side of the Reach, while Cole is being more pragmatic, kind of doom and gloom kind of individual, especially post Rook's Rest, which now he's just doesn't care about honor. He doesn't care about chivalry or any of that stuff, because it doesn't matter, because after Rook's Rest, he's like fully like, it doesn't matter. We're all gonna die, so we might as well be beast, especially seeing as one of his men, I don't want to say the word just so I don't get the risk of demonetization. He sullied a local peasant girl, and Cole doesn't really care, even though Gawain wants that guy to be punished. I don't know. I want to see where Cole's character goes, because Fabian, he's just an absolute... He's been portraying Cole so well, and honestly, he doesn't deserve the hate he's been getting online. Like, he doesn't deserve it. The character does, obviously, not him, the actor. The actor doesn't deserve it, his character does, though. Oh, hey, Pioneer. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're having a good weekend. Hope you're enjoying this little holiday weekend we're having, and I hope you're excited for episode 3 tonight. But yeah, let's move on. Oh, and here, this is a very interesting scene with the dragon seeds at Harrenhal. Apparently, they're stationed there just to ambush Vhagar and Aemon to kill him and pretty much end the whole struggle, which would have worked if Ulf and Hugh weren't impatient bastards. But it's very I like the little background that Ulf got here, that he never knew his mother, that he was confronted by a Red Priest from Essos, which is basically the Red Priest of R'hllor, same as Thoros and Melisandre. And interesting enough, he tells Ulf that he has king's blood and that he was born with a purpose, which kind of tells us that he is a dragon seed, but he's not the son of Balon the Brave. At least what the scene implies, because in season 2, he claims to his drinking buddies that he's Daemon's half brother, that he's the son of Balon the Brave, which I could see, but now this scene kind of draws that claim into a suspicion right now. So I'm very curious to see which Targaryen he comes from. For all we know, he could be Sarah Targaryen's son, like Hugh. For all we know, Hugh and Ulf are half brothers. Hang on, I gotta take another drink. Joffre, I believe Criston Cole is he does come from the Dornish marches, specifically in what was it? What was the house? Dondarrion of what was the name of the castle? The castle that House Dondarrion has. Oh, someone let me know in the comments. I'm drawing blanks right now. But yeah, he hails from the Stormlands. I guess his mother was Dornish, which because his father was a castellan, or no, he was a steward at it's Blackhaven. Blackhaven. That's where the Dondarrions were. But yeah. Okay, I'm off track right now. Let's move forward. Yeah, I actually really like the interactions between the seeds. I actually like the dynamic between Adam, Hugh, and Ulf. I love that Adam's trying to be an obedient soldier, trying to obey the orders of the queen, while Hugh is just like super weird out of this place, and Ulf is he just wants to get the hell out of Dodge. Especially the fact that he saw the black goat of Qohor. Yes, Pioneer, Blackhaven. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I really want to see more of their interactions moving forward. I can't wait to see Hugh and Ulf's progression in season 3, because there's going to be something that's going to happen later on that I think is going to shock a lot of you casual viewers out there. But I do hope they give Adam more character, because out of the 3 seeds, his is kind of leaving something to be desired. Because he's just wants to prove himself and all that, which I get, but I don't know. I think he needs more character, because I think out of the 3 seeds, I love Hugh the most, Ulf the second, and Adam third. But yeah. And now we move on to Alicent's, and I gotta tell you, man, I really don't know what they're doing with her character, man. Ever since Alicent learned the truth behind Viserys' last words, I don't know what they're doing with her character, because in the beginning of season 2, she's trying to support her sons and have Rhaenyra bend the knee, But as soon as that secret meeting in the Grand Sept, she's like confused. She doesn't know what to do. And by the end of it, she's trying to screw over her own sons. And I don't know, man. Because at this point, I don't think she really cares about any of her children other than Helena and Jaehaera. Like, she didn't give a shit about when Jaehaerys got murdered by blood and cheese. She was just more concerned about Helena, which, understandably, but girl, that was your grandson, for God's sake. At least have some compassion. I don't know. It's... And now we have her, like, trying to undermine Aemon and delay Ormond Hightower, and just... It seems to me like she's just pro Team Black right now. She's actively working against her own faction, which, to me, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I want the showrunners to tell me why she's doing this. Why are you trying to screw over your 3 sons, if only to protect your own daughter? Like, that makes no sense to me. I get that they're trying to make her into a different character than Cersei, because in the books, Alicent is pretty much a Hightower Cersei, but I don't know. It's just so confusing to me. I don't know. But I am liking Helena. Helena, I will grant you, her character is becoming more interesting, because in the books, after the events of Blood and Cheese, she just becomes super depressed and doesn't do anything. Whereas here, she's more of a dragon dreamer with a bit of mental disabilities, I would say. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they approach her character moving forward. And we have the 2 MVPs of this episode, Corlys and Alan of Hall, my Lord Oakenfist. Oh, I'm so glad these two got more identity from, as opposed to what we saw in season 2, because all throughout that season, Corlys and Alan were just chilling out in the docks while their ship was being repaired. While I did like their interactions, I would have liked to see more fight and action between those two, and I'm glad to see that they're actually listening to us and gave Corlys and Alan, like, so many badass scenes, man. Especially when Corlys pilots his own ship through a narrow passageway. It was just so... it was so well done. I loved it. But I do like the fact that Corlys and Alan had a bit of a drink from an Ibanese wine, or Ibanese alcohol drink, or whatever that it was called, dragon water, I think it was called. But yeah, I was very glad that Corlys is pretty much trying to admit, yeah, I fucked up. I abandoned you and your brother when you guys were just toddlers, and I'm sorry. I do like that Corlys is trying to make amends with Alan just before the gala happens. It was such... I like their interactions. Like, while Alan definitely has a lot of grievance against his dad, he does have a lot of respect for him as a commander and as a sailor. Because you could see all throughout the battle sequences, he's obedient, he respects his lord's wishes, and I'm just glad we got more action between those two. Alright, let me see if I can move on. Yeah, again, Alan definitely was one of the main MVPs of episode 1, especially when Corlys got, like, out of it when he saw High Tide burning, and Alan just immediately assumes command and absolutely wrecks the shit out of Shirako Lohar. It was so satisfying. Oh, I just gotta say, the actor who does Alan, I can't pronounce his name right. Abakar Salim, I think it's called. I'm probably butchering that name, and I do apologize for that. But he is just an amazing actor. I've loved him since he played Bayek in AC Origins. And as soon as I saw that he was cast as Alan of Hull, I knew this was Lord Oakenfist. Even though I'm still very upset that they haven't yet given him the name. And at this point, I don't think they're gonna, honestly. Which, understandably, because he earns that name after the dance. When he battles some Bravosi pirates. Sorry about that. Okay, let's move on. Oh, and we have some interactions between Thailand and Sharako Lohar. And I gotta say, credit where it's due, they did improve Lohar in this episode as opposed to what we saw in the final episode of season 3, or of his season 2. Because I don't have anything against the actress. I don't know. The performance in episode 8 of last season was off. I think that was just, it wasn't right. They were kind of merging Sharako with Recalio Rendoon, who fights Oakenfist later on, but that's beside the point. But here, thankfully, they show off Lohar's skills as an admiral and as a sailor, and she definitely has a lot of beef with Corlys, which is understandably because the Triarchy and House Velaryon have been at war for like 20 years now, I think they said in this episode. But yeah, it was very satisfying to see Lohar being a skillful tactician, and I love the banter between her and Thailand. I love that Thailand actually did provide some good advice in terms of naval warfare, considering the fact that he was master of ships under Viserys for a good 10 years, I believe it was. 10 or more years for season 1. But yeah, I like that he was trying to uphold the Greens and trying to get them to focus on the blockade rather than their own grievance against Corlys and all that. And I love the fact that Sharako is pretty much, I didn't take this contract to fight your king's war. I want to kill the sea snake. He's my priority, not your blockade. But now we come to a new character who I was very much looking forward to see. Ormond Hightower, Lord of the Hightower, and the cousin of Alicent, and the nephew of Otto Hightower, who is played by the legendary James Norton. And honestly, this was a great introduction to the character. Honestly, it was only like a minute or two, but I immediately fell in love with him. I love the fact that he had to sniff some perfume or whatever the heck that was he was carrying, just because the messenger that Alicent dispatched smelled like shit. It was so satisfying. And I love the bromance between him and Bold John Roxton, who was played by, I forget the actor's name. He was in Andor. He was in Andor season 1 and 2. If people know the name of the actor, please let me know in the comments. But I just love that Bold John was pretty much acting as a lieutenant and a bodyguard for Ormond. It was so satisfying. And his squire also. That was the kid behind him in this shot here. I'm not gonna spoil anything for the sake of casual viewers out there, but that kid, he's got a lot to play moving forward. Oh, and we saw Targaryen, which I do not have in this slideshow. I've seen a lot of people being disappointed with Targaryen's look and saying that she looks like a ripoff of Arax, which I get, but I honestly don't mind it because we've seen a lot of different variety with the dragons, and I'm honestly perfectly fine with her sharing the same. Oh, hang on. Oh, everything's running good. Oh, also, guys, let me know if the stream is bugging out or anything's not working. I will try my best to correct any errors that are arising. Right, like that. But yeah. But yeah, what do you guys think of Ormond Hightower, Bull John, and this suspicious little lad over here? He's gonna have a part to play. I can tell you that right now. All right. But let's move on. Oh, hang on. Oh. And here we have another Alicent scene with Aemond. And that's that has a very interesting scene with them kissing. I'm a little divisive about that. On one hand, I get why it had to be done because Aemond, all throughout seasons 1 and 2, he's always been a weirdo. He kind of milfed out with Lady Sylvie for a good part of season 2, and he had a bit of warm milk also, which yeah, kind of gave off a little Homelander vibes. But yeah, but aside from that, I like that Alicent was trying to manipulate Aemond into going to Harrenhal, basically because she knows Aemond fears Daemon and Rhaenyra's dragons. But again, why is she working against her own faction? The faction she formed in episode 4 of season 1. I don't, or was it episode 5? I can't remember. But I don't know why she's openly going against her own faction right now. Oh, hang on. Something's going on. Let me just double check something right now. Hang on. Okay. Let me just... Something's going on here. For a moment, let me just try and adjust something right now in settings. Hang on. Where are you? Where's buy rates? Okay, let's just paste you there. Apply. Okay. Okay, YouTube was kind of recommending I do something right now, which I did. Just let me know if stream's working fine for you guys and all that stuff to make sure nothing's being buggy or anything like that, because I don't know, everything seems to be working good in YouTube right now. Okay, but let's move on. Again, I like the fact that she's manipulating Aemond, but again, I say again, why is she trying to kill her own sons? Because the seeds are waiting in Harrenhal just to kill him. Like, I don't know. It's so weird, man. But yeah, this does convince Aemond to leave King's Landing for Harrenhal, and I do like though that it kind of incorporated the quote wherein Aemon's like, "Yep, I will feast in Black Heron's Hall with my uncle's head on a spike," which is kind of the same thing as what was said in Fire and Blood. But yeah, that's by the point. Oh, hang on. Oh, Oh, that's all right. There we go. Oh, okay. So now we get to... Oh, hang on. Oh, all right. Now we get to the Gullet, where the Triarchy are attacking the Velaryon fleet, and Jace is trying to stop his mom from going to battle because he knows is probably a trap, like Rook's Rest was, how Waynes and Meleys died. He doesn't want that for his mom, so he locks her up, orders Sir Laurent to bar the door and don't let her leave, which I understand, but like Baela said, it's kind of treasonous. But I do get that Jace is trying to like prove himself as the warrior prince, the prince who is going to fight for his birthright, and I do like that he convinces Baela to go with him. Though I am little annoyed at the fact that Aegon and Viserys, Rhaenyra and Daemon's sons, aren't mentioned at all. That there's no mention of them or the gay abandoned, that they haven't been apprehended by the Triarchy, because in Fire and Blood, after the two princes board the gay abandoned, they're set upon by the Triarchy, Viserys is captured, and Aegon flees back to Dragonstone on the back of his dying dragon. But in here, it's not mentioned at all, so I'm kind of wondering what's going on there. Like, what are they going to do with Aegon, Viserys, and Stormcloud? I don't know. And also something that kind of annoys me, despite the fact that Jace and Baela are betrothed, they're never shown kissing each other, which I get, but at the same time, come on, show a little romance. Come on. But let's move on to the Gullet. It was just an amazing battle sequence. I just love the action that was going on there with the ships and Corlys and Shirako just setting it off against each other as naval commanders. It was just an amazing sequence. I honestly just love everything about the Gullet. I was a little disappointed to see the Seeds were not participating in the battle itself, which they do later on in the beginning of episode 2, but I don't know. I guess they wanted to show off more of Jace and Baela in action, which it does make sense. And it does make Jace's death in the final scene all the more tragic. But again, I'm going to say this one more time. Alan and Corlys absolutely owned this episode. I love how Alan was so active in this battle, both as a warrior and as a commander, especially when Corlys was sunk into the waves and Alan just shouting, "Father." Oh man, that was so satisfying. I love the fact that despite the tension between those two, Alan does love his father deep down. And I love the fact that he was able to avenge him by slaying Shirako. But that does leave open a question on what's going to happen with the Triarchy, because in Fire and Blood, Shirako's death does bring about the end of the Triarchy, but their death is a little different, because Shirako lives through this battle, but is blamed by the other free cities, and that creates friction. But I don't mind it, honestly. It was fine. I loved the sequence, and again, Alan absolutely owned the final 5 to 10 minutes. Owned the final 10 to 15 minutes of this episode. He was just great. Loved the actor. Still disappointed, though, that he hasn't gotten his Oakenfist nickname. Praying, though. Praying! But yeah, I think we need to address the dragon in the water, Vermex and Jace's death. That sequence honestly made me tear up a bit. I don't care about the direwolves dying in Game of Thrones. Dragons dying in both Game of Thrones and Hot D are just some of the most tragic things I've seen, man. Especially Vermax. It was so tragic seeing him being sunken and just drowned to death, man. It was so tragic. But yeah. All right. But yeah, Jace, man. They really nailed his death because his death is nearly identical to what was described in Fire and Blood. He got shot in the chest, or twice in the chest, and once in the neck. And him drifting into the woods was just tragic. But yeah, the first episode was great. It was a great starter. I loved the action sequence, even though, again, this should have been the penultimate episode of season 2. But that's beside the point. But personally, I will give this episode, I think, an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, 8.5 sounds about right for me. But now, let's move on to episode 2. Yeah, episode 2, man. The first 10 minutes, it was so tragic. Seeing Jace being dragged, the seeds coming in and just wrecking the remnants of the Triarchy. It was so sad, especially the track, man. The track in season 3 thus far has been chef's kiss. Absolutely chef's kiss. Oh, hey, Christy Angel. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot he played father in Raised by the Wolves. I completely forgot about that. Wow. Oh, yeah. I need to watch that show, honestly. Yeah, Santos. Or Santo. They really have done a great job recreating some scenes, especially the gullet and Rook's Rest and the final 20 to 15 minutes of this episode here. It was honestly, I gotta give props. I gotta give props to Ryan Condal. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't understand the beef between Condal and George at this point. I mean, I do understand Alicent and the Nell situation, but everything else, Condal has pretty much done a pretty good job, in my opinion. But there's a lot of book purists who don't think that way. Just saying, but that's beside the point. But, hold on a moment. Sorry about that. But, yeah. Oh, also, I want to give a shout out to Emma Darcy. Their portrayal in this scene with Jace's dead body, it was so heartbreaking, man. Can we just give them an Emmy, honestly? Because Darcy, I love the fact that they have just portrayed Rhaenyra as someone who's just in disbelief and just shock and anguish. It was so satisfying. And I love the rage she had with Laurent, Rhaena, or not Rhaena, Pela, and the rest of her court. It was so heartbreaking, especially when she just cries and cradles Jace's body, man. It was, yeah, Pioneer, masterpiece in acting. Emma Darcy is great in both method acting in theater and here, man. Especially here. It was, with first Luke and now Jace. Ugh. If they don't give Emma an Emmy this year, for either this year or next year, I swear I'm gonna flip donkey shit. I still haven't forgive them for passing over Patty Constantine. I'm still not over that, and I am, so stupid. But yeah, great portrayal, great acting. Give Darcy an Emmy. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, and we have Rhaena and Sheepstealer back in the Vale, trying to seek protection from Jane Eyre, who is understandably both pissed off that she ran off and the fact that her actions pretty much resulted in the death of the Crown Prince. And she wants nothing to do with them, honestly, because as far as Rhaena is concerned, she's a bit of a fugitive right now. Even though Rhaenyra and Daemon don't know who killed Jace, or not kill Jace, but were responsible in his death. But as far as Rhaena and Jane Eyre are concerned, yeah, she's guilty. And if Jane harbors her, she could bring down the Queen's wrath on her. And she ain't having any of that. And pretty much tells her to fuck off. And while I don't dislike Jane Eyre thus far, her attitude towards Rhaena and Rhaenyra at this point has been a bit, I don't know, not bad, but kind of sus, in my opinion. Because, on one hand, I get it, because she got a little screwed over, because she was promised a fighting dragon, but instead it got baby dragons. I get why she's not helping out her cousin, but at the same time, in Fire and Blood, she says, we women must stand together. We have to stand together. Where is that? Where is that? Ugh. Hopefully, Rhaenyra and Daemon get her back on track, because we know one of Rhaenyra's Queensguard, newer Queensguard, is going to be a Redford, who hails from the Vale. So, hopefully, at some point in the season, Jane's going to say, okay, I'm going to send my knights and have at it. But yeah. Oh, and we come to Daemon having a bit of partying with the Winter Wolves and the River Lords. Honestly, I really love the shanty they sing here with the fish feed. It was so good. I loved it. While I would have loved to see the fish feed portrayed on screen, I do love the fact that they were singing and giving it its name from a song. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's fair, Christy. That's fair. But in my opinion, Patty and Emma both deserve Emmys, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I do love that everyone's just cheering, having a fun time, and I did love seeing Black Alley and Roddy the Ruin having a fun time together. And, well, there's no good pick I have of her at the moment, but this person right here that my cursor is having, I'm not sure if you guys can see that. That is Black Alley having a good time with the Roddy the Ruin. It was a very fun time. I loved it. But of course, it was cut short when Daemon received the news of Jace's death. And, yeah, he's not happy either. He's understandably pissed off and ready to go back to Dragonstone and help out his wife. And I'm very glad in this episode that Daemon's like, okay, I'm no longer trying to conspire to take the throne. I'm fully behind my wife, and I'm going to be her champion. While I do find the whole dream sequence that motivates him to fight for her is a little bit I don't mind it all that much, but the whole fact that they're emphasizing the Song of Ice and Fire a lot in motivation for the Blacks is a bit, it's a bit of a hit and miss for me. But yeah. Oh, and we get a bit of more scenes with Daemon and Alice Rivers, and we get a bit of a motivation on why she was helping out Daemon in season 2. Like a lot of people, she wants Harrenhal, which I get why. I get it because she's a Woods Witch, and the power of the old gods is resonating strong in Harrenhal. But why is everyone so wanting that ruined castle? It's just a ruined. It's just a big ruined castle that just kills every single house that holds it. And it's just, it's so frustrating to see so many people wanting it. I get it. It generates a lot of wealth and it gives you a bit of prestige, but it kills off your family, man. Just, But yeah. Oh, hey, Gramps. Oh, is that? Oh, Gramps Roger. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And oh, thank you for your comments there, my friend. And at the moment, I can't do a group chat right now, but maybe in the future. Yeah. I'm glad. I'm happy you enjoy my videos. I will be doing more in the future. Gonna take a little bit of a break at the moment just so I can digest Hot D and kind of work on some other stuff for my other YouTube channel. But yeah. Oh, hey, Kaiser. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're enjoying season 3 like I am, and hope you're looking forward to tonight's episode. Oh, but back on track. Damon Prima says, yeah. No, I'm not giving you Harrenhal. You're just a commoner. You're a midwife. Why would I give you a castle when you don't have name, title, or lord husband? So it's understandable because he can't just give her a commoner the biggest castle in Westeros. It makes no sense. And Alice is not too happy about that. She tells Daemon to, like Jane, to fuck off. And also, I did love the fact that we got Caraxes kind of hydrating on the lake. It was so cute and very realistic, actually. I do like when dragons behave more like animals than just fire-breathing monsters and stuff like that. Because in Game of Thrones and Hot D, they're portrayed more as big fire-breathing animals rather than big monsters. But, yeah. Oh, and we have a bit of interaction between Alan and Bela, which is very interesting because in Fire and Blood, they have a bit more history going on, if you get my drift. Yeah. I love the dang... Oh. Ooh. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But yeah, we got a bit more... I love their chemistry between Bela and Alan. I love that Bela is kind of being more of a gentle, reassuring to Alan that, yeah, you're a bastard, but Corlys loves you. And I love that they're trying to console one another and trying to bond a bit, which, honestly, I loved. And I love the fact that she was reassuring Alan that Corlys is alive, we'll find him, and then Adam and Seasmoke come looking, and they find him. But yeah. Oh, and we have another Aegon and Larys scene, which, honestly, I love that Aegon is just so pissed off at Larys for revealing his identity and getting them imprisoned by their enemies. It was so... I love that Aegon was just acting like a petulant little brat, and Larys was just, yeah, you pissed off our captives. They were gonna kill you. What was I supposed to do? But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing their interactions going forward over the course of this season, because just as they're being transported to Duskendale and then to Dragonstone, they're ambushed by remnants of the Triarchy, which makes sense because after the Seeds destroyed their fleet, I would imagine there would be some scattered remnants trying to pillage the coast and all that stuff. And that's kind of timely because Aegon and Larys get the hell out of Dodge there. And I love the fact that Aegon takes an arrowhead and shanks one of the Staunton guards so pathetically. It was so... it made me laugh a little bit, actually. But yeah, I love that Aegon reclaimed his crown, the sack that had his crown, rather. And instead of going to Essos, he decides fuck it, let's go to Rook's Rest, because Cole has a green garrison there that'll help me out. And Larys is kind of understandably a little, isn't that a little dangerous? Because it's a long road and you're half burned, bruh. But yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see what happens when they go to Rook's Rest, because there's a certain someone there who was last seen there. And I can't wait to see what they do with that. And I'm not going to talk any more about that. At least not until the very end. But yeah. Oh, this scene here, where Corlys meets up with Adam, Bela, and Alan as High Tide is burning. And honestly, it doesn't look that bad. It looks like High Tide has a bit of fire, but from this shot here, the castle looks relatively okay. I mean, probably all its wealth is gone, but the castle seems relatively intact. But yeah. It was very satisfying to see that Corlys saying his iconic, if this be victory, I hope I never see another. It was, again, I love how Condal is incorporating these quotes from Fire and Blood into Hot D, and it's making them feel natural, honestly, in my opinion. And it was so satisfying to hear Steve Toussaint pronouncing it. It was so great. But not as great as when Corlys all but legitimizes Alan, making him his heir. Well, not officially naming him Alan Velaryon, because you need to be a royal to do that. But yeah. It was so satisfying to see that Alan accepting the name Velaryon, even though he doesn't have wealth. He values being acknowledged by his father. And I love that Adam is trying to help out. He's trying to be a kind, supporting son and just trying to be there for his dad, who's pretty much lost everything. He lost his wife, he lost his children, he lost his wealth, his castle is on fire. And yeah, it's very reassuring that the wealth he has now is more about family rather than gold or silver. But yeah, because all those things cost him the people he loved most. But now that he's deprived of that, he now has something more valuable than gold. But yeah. Oh, and well, this is not the official shot of him, but we have Alicent meeting Luthor Largent. And some unclothed gold cloaks in their barracks, which was a little out of the ordinary, but, well, not out of the ordinary, because it's Game of Thrones and all that stuff. It's not shy of showing off some nudity there, here and there, but I was so glad to see Luthor Largen. I love the actor who plays him. I remember him from both Nightfall and Becoming Elizabeth, and the dude is just a really great actor, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how Luthor Largen's character will progress over the course of season 3, because he does play a large role in what is to come later on in this episode. But yeah, but again, Allison is trying to remind Luthor Largent about his loyalties to Daemon and the fact that Rhaenyra is coming, which, again, why is she working against her own faction? Why is she trying to help out the Blacks? I get it, she wants peace and all that stuff, but why is she trying to screw over her own faction? I know I've said this a lot. It's so frustrating because I don't understand Allison's character. What is her motivation? Why is she doing this? It makes no sense to me. Please, if someone knows in the comments what she's on about, please let me know. Please, and I'll shut up about this. I promise. Alright. Rant's over. Let's move on. Oh. we have a very satisfying scene with Daemon berating the Dragon Seeds for abandoning their post at Harrenhal and just coming to Dragonstone, which I understand why they did it. Why they did it. Oh my god. Why they did it. Sorry. Oh, I can't pronounce things sometimes. Oh. But yeah, they only waited a couple days and then said, screw it, we're leaving. And Daemon's like, understandably pissed off at them, because they're supposed to stay there, ambush Vhagar, and the war would have been over. Would have been done. Nothing. There would have been no more conflict. There would only be Darren and Tessarion. That would be it. We will win. But after they had some visions of a green man and a black goat, they decided, nah, screw it, we're leaving. I mean, yeah, Alice did reveal to them mystically that there's a battle, and I guess they wanted to help out and also get the hell out of Harrenhal. But again, Daemon's like, what the hell? But it was very satisfying to see Daemon bitch-slapping Ulf, because Ulf is kind of being an annoying little shit right now, especially the fact that he wants a castle so bad, like a certain sellsword from Game of Thrones, a certain Bronn of the Blackwater. But yeah. Oh, and we get a bit of a reunion between Daemon and Messaria. And it's very satisfying to see them having their typical spit between them two. And the fact that they're competing for Rhaenyra's favor. It was very satisfying. I'm kind of curious to see how their battle of wits is going to affect Rhaenyra's descent into, well, madness or darkness or wherever the heck it's going to be. But I'm very much loving the fact that they clearly hate each other, but at the same time, they do have that same vibe that they had from season 1. That they still had some connection, even though it's clear that they don't like each other at all anymore. But yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're kind of like skeptical of Alicent's offer, which, again, understandable because of her past actions in crowning Aegon and all that stuff. I honestly can't blame them for being supremely sus. But I'm glad that Daemon is not questioning Rhaenyra's orders. He is fully behind her, 100%, no questions. He's not trying to undermine her authority. He's trying to reinforce her authority, but now he's trying to wake her up from the despair that she's in right now. And I love the fact that Daemon consoles Rhaenyra and tries to boast that Jace fought for her, that he fought for his mom, that he fought for his claim, that he died defending the Blacks. And he speaks like that kind of as a proud stepdad. And I love that. I love that Daemon is not shaming Jace. He's kind of boasting her, telling her that her son died with honor. And I like the fact that Rhaenyra is adamant on finding out who claimed Sheepstealer, that she's determined to find this unnamed writer and make them pay for what happened to Jace. Even though it's Daemon's daughter who was responsible, albeit inadvertently, but yeah. But I do love the fact that Daemon is trying to reassure her that your claim, that you have the opportunity now to claim the throne now that Aemon and Vhagar are gone. You have the opportunity. And she's like, what's the point? My sons are dead. The children that I loved are dead just so I can sit on a throne made of swords. And Daemon consoling her that if you don't, they will die for nothing. They will die for nothing. And reassuring her about the Song of Ice and Fire, again, that he saw in the final episode of season 8. And I love the fact that they little tease Daenerys there with their High Valyrian chat there, with Daemon saying, I saw a woman in a desert far away with dragons on her breast. And it's kind of very interesting connection, considering the fact that she's their descendant, that Daenerys hails from their bloodline. That's a bit of spoiler on my front, but that's all I'll say on that matter. But this speech here kind of rouses Rhaenyra out of her stupor and becomes Rhaenyra the Cruel. But now we jump to the one scene that I really, really, really don't like. The Jasper Wild scene. That he's trying to sexually assault Alicent because her Kingsguard, Rickard Thorne, spilled the beans about her deal with Rhaenyra. And Jasper is trying to take advantage of that. And why was this scene necessary? Why was it necessary? I get it. Is to make Ironrod's death kind of more satisfying, but man, this scene here was so unnecessary. And the fact that he's trying to do it against the mother of your king, dude, you would have to have known what was going to happen. And the moment Orwell showed up with a couple Hightower guards, I mean, you had to have known you were going to get screwed to the pooch there, my guy. Oh my god. Oh, there was this scene alone. It was I don't understand why I don't understand why this needed to happen. It didn't need to happen at all. You could have just had Ironrod chilling out in his chambers, and when the Blacks take over, they could have stormed into Ironrod's chambers, taken him, and then killed him on the spot right there. This scene didn't need to happen at all. None of it. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just get that over because I really didn't like that scene. I'm just going to skip that one over. But yeah. Yeah, Neverwhen, it was kind of a stupid soap opera moment. It didn't need to happen. It was unnecessary. let's move on. But now we have Rhaenyra the Cruel all decked out in her chainmail dress thing. I don't know what it is, but she's carrying Jace's sword, which is very, very symbolic, which I love that she's carrying basically to give her strength into what she must do moving forward. She's going to be the warrior queen that it was so... Oh, I love that. Now, I'm glad that we're done with this. What would you have me do from season 2? And it's like, yep, no more talking. I'm going to King's Landing. That's the end of it. But yeah. Oh, we have our first... Oh, I think we have our first ever super chat. Thank you. Oh, hang on. Smitty Smith? I think that's how it's pronounced. I do apologize if I butcher that name, my friend. Thank you for, I think those are... Is that 22? Is that 22 bucks? I don't... I think it's 22 bucks. I think it is. But, yeah, the sea was so well done. Oh. The scene was done just to justify his execution. Yeah, but again, dude, it was... Oh, Bagel! Oh, shit! Hey, man! Oh, wow! Thank you, man. Oh, it's $50. Oh, okay. Well, thank you again. Thank you. I still appreciate it. Yeah. You could have justified his execution in many other ways. He was just an arrogant asshole. He was just a smartass. You didn't need to have that scene there. It was... I don't know. It was so stupid to me. Okay. But, moving on. Oh. Okay, well, hey, John. Hope you're still here, my friend. Hope you are enjoying yourself, and hope you're doing well. Yeah. I'm glad that Rhaenyra is no longer just cowering behind her counsel. She's just taking action, and she's like, screw this. I'm going to King's Landing. Come what may. I'm taking the throne. And I love the fact that Mysaria hands her a crown, but clearly she's lost a bit of influence with Rhaenyra as Daemon walks behind her, walks in front of her, like smirking like a bitch, which is, oh, so satisfying. So satisfying. Oh, hang on. Oop. Oh. Who do we have here? Oh, wow. How am I going to pronounce that name? Barak? Oh, man. I don't know how to pronounce your name, my friend, so I'm just going to say your last four numbers. 5331. Hey, man. Hope you're doing well. Tell me how to pronounce your names so I don't look like an absolute ass. Hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed the first 2 episodes of season 3 like I did. But yeah. But I love the scene here with Daemon like instructing the Dragon Seeds, Ulf and Hugh, to stay in formation and don't F this up again. Like, especially, I love that he's hammering down more on Ulf because he clearly doesn't like him very much. He clearly has a little more respect for Hugh, but Ulf, man, he's just like had enough of his bullshit. You fall in line or I'm going to kill you. No more thinking, just do your job. It was, I love that Daemon was just being so intimidating in this scene, just so, oh, it was so good. But this shot here with Rhaenyra leading Daemon, Ulf, and Hugh with Cyrax, Caraxes, Silverwing, and Vermithor. Oh. I love the dragons. I love all the dragons. Cyrax is the least favorite of the dragons in my opinion, but this scene here was so badass. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to see what more dragon mischief we're gonna get in season 3. And we get some more Alicent scenes with Helena trying to get her to get the guards to stand down, pretty much. And yeah, there's really nothing much to say here. I love her manipulation. She's trying to persuade the guards pretty much to stand down, to not fight, because Vhagar's gone. Without her, the city's defenseless. If you attack Rhaenyra and her dragons, the city will engulf in fire, just like it did in the last episodes of season 8 of Thrones. And that ultimately persuades them. And I love that Helena tries tactile and stern and all that, like, I will not have any beast harmed, while also giving a smirk in the end. It was very well done. I love the manipulation. But again, why are you trying to undermine your own faction again? Arrgh. All right, anyway, moving on from that. But now we have Aemond and Vhagar at Harrenhal. Oh, man. I just love that Vhagar pretty much emulates Balerion by roasting Harrenhal and just fucking up all the Riverlords, and Aemond just stepping off Vhagar and just slashing his way across all of them. And I love his armor. The armor here looks so good. I love that it's kind of a mix between Aegon's armor in season 2 and Daemon's armor. The helmet looks great. I love that it has the patch over his missing eyeball. It was so good. And I love that he nonchalantly passes by while Vhagar just sets a light to the castle. It was just so good. I love how they're making Aemond into a badass warrior where he just cuts down every single one of them. It was so well done. So well done. But let's talk about the death of one of our major characters, Sir Simon Strong. Yeah. Let's have a moment of silence for that guy. He was honestly one of my favorite characters from season 2. I love that he was actively trying to help Daemon, and I love the fact that he was trying to worm his way with Aemon, but just ends up being stabbed to death with the prophecy dagger. It was, oh man, it was so sad to see him go. It was so sad. But I do like the fact that his sons actually tried to fight back. One of them actually stabbing Aemond in the back, like kind of near the butt. I think it was near the butt actually. But Aemond just mows them down like nothing. It was so good to see Aemond just being a merciless bastard, and I am just so glad. And I'm so glad to see him meeting his future girlfriend, Alice Rivers. And the fact that he was whimpering, "Help me." It was so good to see this guy who's pulling up such a bold front acting so pathetic in this moment where we all think he was about to die, which obviously he doesn't. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing the interactions between Aemond and Alice, because they have a bit of chemistry going on as recorded in Fire and Blood. And I'm very curious to see where that relationship takes off to, because I've heard in a lot of interviews that they're kind of a power couple, So that's going to be very interesting. But now let's talk about the fall of King's Landing. Oh my god, it was so good to seeing the dragons just fly over King's Landing. Syrax, Caraxes, Vermithor, and Silverwing just descending and causing panic and chaos while the guards just stand down. Oh man, it was so cool seeing Vermithor passing by Cat, Ulf's wife, and I guess she's just bailing out King's Landing. And I think we all know where she's going to be going to, because a certain brother of hers lives in a town called Tumbleton. And for those who read Fire and Blood, you know there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to happen there. Stuff that's going to be very important for the future of the show moving forward. But yeah, I do also love the fact that we saw some characters related to the seeds, like Ulf's drinking buddies seeing Silverwing fly by. And I do love the fact that we saw Vermithor and Silverwing landing just as they said in Fire and Blood. Though in Fire and Blood, Vermithor lands near the dragon pits, while Silverwing lands on the other top of Aegon's High Hill. But this scene here, it's good enough, in my opinion, just to have them landing on the battlements or the walls of King's Landing. But yeah, it was very cool seeing Syrax and Caraxes landing and intimidating all the guards, just lay down their swords and submit. Oh, hang on. And I love the fact that once they're in the Red Keep, Daemon just mows down all the green soldiers. And this shot here with Daemon just killing one and just leaving him to stand with Dark Sister impaled. Oh, man. It really makes that one quote in Fire and Blood very apt here. 6 men or 20, he is still Daemon Targaryen. And this scene alone, that kind of justifies it, in my opinion. Oh, Goopa. Okay. Sorry, Goopa. Sorry. I'm not good with pronunciation stuff. That's why I gotta have stuff read out to me when I'm just before I'm recording my videos and other stuff. Because if I don't, I get razzed on in the comments. So, yeah. But yeah, I just love that Daemon and Rhaenyra just walking through the Red Keep like absolute badasses while Daemon just cuts down any green soldier. It was just like, oh, mommy and daddy are home and we're here to do business. That's pretty much what the aura between these two showed off here. It was so well done. I just loved it. Though I've seen a bunch of book peers kind of question the logistics behind their entry, because later on we see Rickard Thorne, Alicent's protector, leading some Hightower guards to protect the throne room. And just before we thought that they were going to get cornered and executed, yeah, the Gold Cloaks show up and rescue the day. But when they show up, it's kind of more like, oh, Daemon's all like, stay behind me, Rhaenyra, and kind of makes it seem like they're going to be surrounded and killed. Whereas in the books, as soon as the dragons appear above the skies, the Gold Cloaks actually abandon the Greens and open up the gates of King's Landing to Rhaenyra's forces. It's not just her, Daemon, and the Seeds. It's her, the remnants of the Velaryon fleet, along with her soldiers. But I'm willing to forgive this for the sake of suspense. But yeah. But it was so satisfying to see the Greens just stand down and the Gold Cloaks just taking them off. And Rhaenyra just staring at the throne, shouting, "Bring Aegon the Usurper to me." Oh, that gave me chills, man. I'm just want to say that scene was so well done. And it was so satisfying to see Daemon leading the Gold Cloaks once again in seizing control of the Red Keep. It was so satisfying to see him being this badass warrior leading the Gold Cloaks once again. It really reminds me of his introduction from the pilot. It was so well done. I loved it. Ooh, sorry. I loved it. It was so well done. Oh, hang on. But before we go on to the jail scene, I love the fact that Daemon forces Orwell to bend the knee and threatens to execute him, while Orwell kind of hands him over Ironrod, who's also in prison. And honestly, I love the fact that Daemon was pretty much like, keep running your mouth, and I will take your little Ironrod there, just for the fun of it. It kind of made me giggle a bit there. But the reveal that a certain someone was being held under the orders of Larys Strong as a little gift for Daemon was very unexpected, I would say. And while Rhaenyra is thanking the lords who kept their oaths from season 1 being released from their jail cells, we're revealed to Ironrod also being captured and pretty much being defiant and all that stuff. But we reveal that Otto Hightower was being imprisoned under the orders of Larys Strong. And this scene here was very unexpected. I knew that Otto was going to get captured and beheaded in this episode, but I was not expecting the fact that Larys was the one who had Otto locked up after the second episode of season 2. It really shows that Larys really does plan for everything. That he plans that in the event that the Blacks takes control of King's Landing and he doesn't fly with Aegon, he could have just offered up Otto as a sweetener and saved his own ass. It was, honestly, it really does speak to the enigmatic side of the Clubfoot, which, honestly, in Fire and Blood, everyone's just as perplexed on his motivations as we are. Like, we don't know what his deal is. Like, he just seems to be playing the Game of Thrones in whatever side has the best chance of winning. So, it was very satisfying to see Rhaenyra execute Otto with Daemon's own sword. It was so satisfying because this was a man who instigated this whole war. He was the one who orchestrated Alicent's marriage to Viserys. Excuse me. He was the one who divided House Targaryen. He was the architect of the whole war. He was the main person responsible for the deaths of Luke, Rhaenys, and Jace, and so many others. Everyone who's died in this war is because of that man. That man is the one responsible for all this happening. And it was so satisfying to see Rhaenyra failing to kill him once and then just slicing off his head while Rhaenyra is tearing up, because despite the fact that she hates him, she also knew him for most of her life. She grew up with this guy. So it's like killing off a member of your own family, even though it's a family member that you hate. But it was so satisfying to see Rhaenyra finally claiming the Iron Throne. We were denied Daenerys in season 8 of Thrones. We were not denied this. It was so well done to see Rhaenyra actually sitting the Iron Throne. A woman who actually deserves to sit that throne. Not Cersei Lannister, but Rhaenyra the Cruel. I'm so glad to see this scene. Oh, it was so well done. Honestly, man, this episode was honestly my favorite of season 2. Or season 3, actually. Or actually, no, season 2, actually, because this should have been the finale of season 2. But I'll leave at that. But the fact that Alicent and Helena were captured while trying to flee with Jaehaera, and seeing her dad's severed head, that's gonna spark a bit of a drama between the two former friends. And I'm curious to see where their dynamic is gonna be. And I'm even more curious to see the interaction between Helena and Rhaenyra, because all throughout the show, Rhaenyra doesn't have anything against Helena. She actually shows some concern for her after hearing of what happened with Blood and Cheese, calling her innocent. That it doesn't seem like she doesn't have any grudge against her at all. So I'm very curious to see where their interaction is going to go from there. I'm very curious about that. Yeah, Chrissy, a dad for a dad, because Otto was one who pretty much caused Viserys' health to deteriorate with all the friction he was creating. So, yeah, I have no sympathy for Otto. He got what he deserved, and I have nothing against it. Oh, and also, Daemon just casually killing Ironrod. That was so satisfying. It was, aside from that scene with Alicent, which again makes no freaking sense whatsoever, it was so good to seeing him being chopped in half. I hate him from the moment he popped up in what was it, episode 5 of season 1, I think. I don't know, but he was just being a smartass all the time, and it was just, I hated him. And it was so satisfying to see Daemon killing him the same way he killed Vaemon in episode 7. So, yeah. But yeah, that's episode 2, Queen's Landing. And yeah, I would say this is my favorite episode of season 3 thus far. Even though, again, it should be more season 2 finale. But yeah. But before we close off the stream, I want to talk about some of the new screenshots we got, or rather, stills of tonight's episode. And I kind of want to talk about these, actually. It's very interesting to see that we see Adam and Alan having a bit of a dinner with Rhaenyra and Corlys. Hold on a minute. I think I have don't I have one? Where is it? Oh, I don't have one? I thought I had one. Oh, here it is. Yep, they're having dinner with Rhaenyra. And I think I know what this scene's going to be about. My best guess, Corlys is going to have a dinner with her and pretty much revealing, yeah, these are my 2 bastard sons, and can you please legitimize them? Please and thank you. And I've heard a bunch of things on the web that's not going to mention, just for the sake of those who don't want any spoilers. But yeah, this is going to be definitely a point of drama between the Queen and her hand. And I am very curious to see where that's going to take them. Because I know what's going to happen with Corlys, and I think the topic will create some friction between them, let's say. But yeah. Not Ace. I will be talking about spoilers, but at the very end. I will just be patient, my friend. I will be talking about them. I just want to talk about non-spoiler stuff, and then near the end, I will lay out my initial thoughts on what tonight's episode is, what the course of the season will take us, and all that stuff. So be patient. I will be getting there in due course. But yeah, It is so satisfying to see Rhaenyra on the throne with her black gown and Jaehaerys' crown. Oh, it's so good to see her on her throne in her proper seat of power. And where's this screenshot? Nope, that's not it. And there are some shots that shows her having a bit of a petition with the small folk, with Corlys in attendance. So I'm curious to see what, I'm very curious to see what, the challenges Rhaenyra is going to face now that she's actually queen, now that she's actually sitting on the throne. I've heard this episode is going to be focused around Rhaenyra actually ruling King's Landing and how that's going to affect her, and I really am curious to see how she handles actually being queen and dealing with the needs of the small folk, with the nobles and all that stuff. And this scene here, this scene is with Rhaenyra, and I'm going to assume, oh, thank you, Nazi. I hope, oh wait, not AC, sorry. Oh, I called you something I shouldn't have. I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm bad with pronunciation. AC. I'm just going to call you AC just so I don't throw myself under the bus there. Thank you for your kind words there, my friend. But yeah, back to what I was saying. This scene with Rhaenyra, and I can only assume it's the High Septon, or maybe Septon Eustace. He was one of the main chroniclers of the Dance of the Dragons. And I swear in season 1, this guy was the one who crowned Aegon in the Green Council. But I've seen some posts saying that they retconned him into being the High Septon rather than being Septon Eustace. So I'm more leaning towards that this is not Eustace, but just the High Septon. So I'm going to assume that Rhaenyra is chatting with him, saying, hey, can you bless me? I'm queen now. Just anoint me so I can be legitimized in the eyes of the realm. And I'm going to assume he's probably going to say, nah, not doing that. Because Aegon is still out there, I would imagine. He's probably going to be like, nah, show me Aegon's head and maybe I'll do it. So I think there's going to be friction between the crown and the faith, which is not uncommon, given if you guys have seen my latest videos, you'll know that the faith and House Targaryen don't have the most stable relationship. Oh, and here we have Daemon negotiating with Ormond Hightower, with Bold John Roxton and his Hightower army. And that's very interesting because I've seen leaks, which I won't go into spoilers. I won't talk about any of the leaks and all that stuff. So guys in the chat, don't worry. I won't spoil anything for you guys. But it looks like they're just negotiating because probably Daemon's like, yeah, Aegon's dead, quote unquote. Aemond is nowhere to be found right now. Rhaenyra's queen, she sits on her throne. Surrender, and you will live. I'm going to assume that's what's going to happen. And I'm curious to see where Daeron has. Because in the teaser for the next episode, we see a silver-haired prince who's going by the name of Daeron. I don't know if that's him or maybe it's the other kid we saw in episode 1. I don't know. But it's very curious to see how their interactions are going to be, because I've heard a lot of good things from this episode, especially from reviewers who said that this is probably one of their favorite episodes. So I'm very, very interested to see where that takes us. And here we have Daemon Mysaria, Corlys, and in the background there, Orwell in the small council chamber. It's very curious to see that Mysaria is actually going to be serving in a full capacity role. So I'm going to assume that Rhaenyra is going to name Mysaria Mistress of Whispers, because in the books, she's not given that title, but she's kind of the unofficial spy mistress for Rhaenyra. But I guess here, she's the official Mistress of Whispers, I guess. And I'm kind of confused why Corlys is in the background there, where he should be at the Queen's right-hand side, because in previous council scenes, the hand is supposed to be on the right side of the table. But, yeah. And I'm very curious to see that Orwell has been pardoned and is still allowed to serve Rhaenyra, even though in the books, he's locked up, and the other Maester that we see on Dragonstone, Maester Gerardus, is put up as Grand Maester. I have nothing against him, mind you. I'm just curious to see where this will take us. And I'm curious to see where Daemon fits on in all this, because I think this shot kind of shows us in the same seat he was in Season 1, Episode 1. So I think Daemon is going to take it more of the Queen's left hand, while Corlys is going to be the right. And I think, knowing Daemon's track record, I don't see him giving the best advice in ruling, because he's not a very good administrator. Sorry, he's a great warrior, not a good leader. Just saying. But oh, I love this scene, this pic here with Rhaenyra and Daemon just having a flirty little chat here. And I love Rhaenyra's outfit here. It looks absolutely regal. I love the Dracula-like, I don't know what you would call those, actually. Shoulder, things? I don't remember. But the outfit looks great. I love that they're focusing on Daemon and Rhaenyra actually being husband and wife rather than being adversaries as they were in Season 2. It's great to see Daemon is fully behind her now. But I love this scene here with Daemon and Caraxes. I just love Daemon's new outfit. I love the new black dragon on his surcoat, and I think this scene here is in connection to the negotiation he has with Ormond Hightower. So I'm very curious to see how that goes about, because I think in the trailers, this shot here has him, Caraxes, Silverwing, and Vermithor also present. So I think the seeds are also going to be in the shot, kind of as a show of intimidation between the Blacks and the Hightower army. But yeah. Okay. Oh, and this shot here with Rhaenyra, Alicent, and Helaena. I'm going to assume that I'm assuming that Rhaenyra is going to be like, hey, where the hell's Aegon? You only did half of what you promised. Where's your son? So I'm going to assume there's going to be a bit of friction there, especially concerning the fact that she just killed her dad. So I'm going to assume that Alicent's going to be less than cooperative. And again, I'm curious to see where Rhaenyra and Helena's relationship will go from here. But yeah. Okay, what is there any other shots we can talk about? Let's see. Oh no, there's a bit of shot of Ormond and Boljon with the Hightower army. Love their outfits. I actually really love Ormond's gear here with the Hightower and the symbols of the seven gods. It really shows that the Hightowers are fanatical in their devotion to the faith of the seven, because and at this point, Old Town is the center of the faith. It wouldn't be, there's no great sept of Baelor. It wouldn't be raised for another 60 to 70 years now? So yeah, I love the fact that the High Towers are putting a lot of emphasis on the faith. And I love Bull John's outfit here, especially with the Roxton sigil on his gorget here. And I love, also, if you can notice here, we have two swords here. This, that Ormond's carrying, is a Valyrian steel sword named Vigilance. And the back one on Bull John here is Orphan Maker, which is a very edgy name, and I love it. Oh, and we got another shot with Rhaenyra and Alicent. I'm going to assume there's going to be some more friction or maybe some advice given or something like that. I have no idea. But I'm curious to see how their relationship will evolve or devolve, depending on what Condal is doing, which I hope he takes the latter course. But I love the fact that Elena Massey is back from after being MIA for a good long bit, because in season 2 she was dispatched to kind of being as Rhaenyra's mole in King's Landing. But I'm glad that she's actually being a handmaiden, Jesus, and helping out Rhaenyra dress and being a ruler. And I just love Rhaenyra's outfit. I love the crown. I love that she's back in her house, in her proper house. I love Dragonstone, but this is where Rhaenyra should be, and I'm glad of it. Okay. All right. Oh, and here, I think we have Rhaenyra burning some green stuff along with some furniture, which I'm not sure what she's burning. Maybe some remnants of Viserys's old stuff. Maybe her, maybe his Valyrian Lego set or something like that. But yeah, she looks very angry and very stern, which I'm very looking forward to see. But okay, there's another shot of Rhaenyra, which honestly looks beautiful. I love her outfit. I love the dragon chains on her gown or cloak or whatever. It just looks amazing. She looks like a queen, and I can't wait to see her actually rule. And I can't wait to see her interacting with their council. And I've heard that we might see another Northman other than Rhaenyra in this episode. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm very curious to see where he goes. He's very important in the future of the show, which he's important in the future of Fire and Blood, but at this moment, he's kind of a wild card right now. Okay, we see Rhaenyra in Viserys' bedchamber, and I'm going to assume she's kind of weirded out being in her dad's old room and being able to sleep in his bed. So I'm going to assume she's going to find it very, very awkward to be living in these rooms. So, okay, I'm going to assume that this is another shot of Rhaenyra talking to either her council or maybe Alicent and Helena, because it looks like the same outfit. I'm not entirely sure. Same here. It looks like the same shot with either the council or Alicent and Helena. So, but this scene here, I've heard a lot about this scene from leaks. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think people who read the main books, she's going to do something that's going to be a bit of a shock and awe for casual viewers. And I think this is going to show more of her ruthless side. And she's having a bit of a din-din with some nobles and all that stuff. And I think these are either probably going to be black supporters, or maybe these are green, or maybe they were blacks who went to green and then back to black. And then I think Rhaenyra is going to probably make an example of these guys with this little feast. I'm not going to go into details of what that might be, but we'll wait. Ooh, sorry. But we'll wait and see. And, oh, okay. We have a bit of interaction between Rhaenyra, Corlys, and Luthor Largent. And it looks like Largent is going to be acting as something of a de facto Queensguard, because after after Jace's death, Rhaenyra allows Laurent Marbrand to find out some way of killing, or, oh, hold on. Let me try that again. Because after Jace dies, Rhaenyra gives Laurent Marbrand however he chooses to die. So I'm going to assume that Marbrand's dead, and Largent is going to act as a de facto Queensguard until new members are going to be filled in. So it looks like this scene here with Rhaenyra and Corlys looks a little tense, because Rhaenyra does not look very happy. She looks very paranoid, very mad kingly, I would say, if that makes sense. Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a lot of friction between those two. A lot of friction between these two. Oh my god, my brain's already dying. I'm sorry, guys. Oh man. But yeah, I'm curious to see how deep their divide is going to be from this season, because Corlys has lost a lot because of his support to Rhaenyra, and I'm assuming he's going to rant out his frustrations to her. So, and I'm going to assume she's not going to take it very lightly. So, yeah. Okay, and now we hit full circle, and I think that'll do it. Before I close off the stream, I want to lay out my hopes, concerns, and some spoiler talk. So if you guys don't want any spoilers at all, please leave the stream right now, or just mute me until I close off things here. You have been warned. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So now that we've hit the near end, I want to talk about some spoilers. I'm very curious to see how Rhaenyra is going to handle the question of legitimacy between Corlys and his children, because I've heard she's going to deny them this legitimacy, as opposed to what we see in the books, where she just acknowledges them. She names them Adam Valerian and Alan Valerian. So, but here it seems like she's going to refuse them, because obviously her own children with Harwin Strong are considered bastards, but she acknowledges them. So I'm going to assume, by acknowledging Corlys's bastards, the question of her own children will be raised again. And I'm going to assume this talk here is going to be what drives a wedge between the queen and her hand. Because later on in the dance, Corlys defects to the Greens. So I'm going to assume that this is going to be the first crack in their relationship that's going to drive Corlys to defect. So, and the negotiation between Daemon and Ormond Hightower, I think this is going to be where Ormond is going to hand over Daeron to Daemon, or I'm going to assume that this is going to be a ploy, a fake Daeron that's going to allow the Hightowers some opportunity to lull Rhaenyra and Daemon into a state of false security, and probably taking some castles. Maybe Tubbleton, maybe dealing with the Beesbury rebels. I don't know. But yeah. What else? I think... And if Ormond and the Greens do take Tumbleton, it's going to make Hugh and Ulf's betrayal all that interesting, because in the books, Tumbleton is held by the Blacks up until Hugh and Ulf betrays them. And I'm curious to see where their betrayal will be portrayed in the last couple episodes of this season. because we know Ulf's wife's not Ulf's. Why am I saying Ulf? Hugh's wife, Kat, is going to Tumbleton. We all know she's going to go there, and I'm going to assume that Kat's going to die, and that's going to push Hugh to betray Rhaenyra, while Ulf is going to probably still be wanting Castle, and probably just going to defect to the Greens just for the promise of a bigger castle. So, yeah, Christy. I'm going to assume that Squire behind Ormond in the first episode was Daron, just had his hair dyed. So I'm going to assume that the pale-haired kid that we saw in the previews was probably just a fake. So I'm going to assume this whole surrender parlay thing is just a farce, just so Ormond can distract the Blacks long enough so he can seize some more territory. So, yeah. What else? I think that'll do it. Oh, actually, I think we're going to talk about this scene here. I think this is going to be a rat's feast, where Rhaenyra is feasting these lords and ladies some rats, either as punishment for them either defecting to the Greens or probably hoarding food or just milking the small folk or something. I don't know. But I think Rhaenyra is going to act a very, very cruel and very tyrannical side here with this whole feast here. And I'm very much excited to see that. I'm really looking forward to seeing Rhaenyra descending from the do-nothing, like, queen from Dragonstone into becoming Rhaenyra the Cruel. And I'm very excited to see how her dark side is going to affect the relationships of those around her. Corlys, the Seeds, Daemon, and all those other characters. I'm very, very looking forward to seeing how Season 3 handles Rhaenyra. Okay, and I think that'll do it for this stream. Thank you all for joining, and thank you all for the comments, and thank you to Bagel for that super chat. I'm very honored by that. Even if it's only $50, it's very, very generous. If you guys want to do super chats in the future, go right ahead. Not needed at all. If you want to support my channel, you are more than welcome to do so. But yeah, I'm going to close it off here. I will probably be back next weekend for a live stream review of episode 3 that's going to come out tonight. But yeah, hope you guys have a great night, and until next time, this has been a channel of ice and fire.